Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Marcus Pavilion in the 2025 GNAC Men's Basketball Championships hosted by St. Martin's University. This afternoon we have the Mammoths of Alaska playing the Falcons of Seattle Pacific. So before we meet the starters at this time, do please rise if you are able. Remove your hats and join us as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Our first men's quarterfinal game between number 6 Alaska Fairbanks, they'll be guests on the scoreboard against number 3 Seattle Pacific. So let's go ahead and meet the starters for both teams. For Alaska, a 6'1" junior, one is Chris Lee.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from Marcus Pavilion in Lacey, Washington, as we get the ball rolling with the 2025 Great Northwest Athletic Conference Basketball Championships. Happy to have you along with us, Dustin Daniel and Sean Wally here with you for a noon tip-off in the first of what will be 4 games today as we decide a men's and women's GNAC champion here 48 hours from now. First game up, it's going to be the number 3 ranked Seattle Pacific Falcons taking on the number 6 seeded Alaska Fairbanks Nanooks as we get rolling with the first game of the GNAC Championships. The number 1 seed, Central Washington, looking to defend their 2024 postseason title. Had the number 4 seed last year, but they will stand atop the standings in the tourney for 2025. As we get into this one thing that we've seen all season, Sean, from the men's side is a lot of parity. These have been very evenly matched games through the 1 through 6 seed, and we expect more of the same here this weekend.
That's some of the beauty of this tournament and all of March in college basketball is anybody can win, and it really is pretty wide open in this men's side of the GNAC Basketball Championships. I mean, take a look at Fairbanks alone. Lost 6 before getting to this point where they've won 5 straight. And they were predicted preseason basement, bottom of the GNAC, and here they are.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago they had to do everything they could to get into the tourney, and here they are as we are ready to get going for this one. Alaska's going to be wearing the blue jersey, Seattle Pacific in the white. Starting lineups for this one, Seattle Pacific's putting Owen Moriarty, Jackson Knapp, Jonas Latour, Mason Landeck, and Trace Evans on the floor. On the other side for the Nanooks, Chris Lee, Paul Johnson, Kathan Sadu, Isaiah Sams-Hoy, and Jalea O'Keefe. Nanooks control the tip, and we are underway here in game number 1. Chris Lee up top for Alaska Fairbanks. Pass underneath is going to be knocked out of bounds. It'll stay at this end. 2 matchups earlier this season between these two teams. They split them. Both teams taking care of business at home. It was a lot closer, this matchup in Seattle at Royal Brome Pavilion, as the Falcons just win that one by 2. But up in Fairbanks, the Nanooks win it by 11.
And that was the more recent contest back on February 20th in Alaska.
Angle 3, Chris Lee, he'll hit it. And we are underway. Make that Kathan Sadu, actually, as Alaska gets on the board first. Weave up top for Seattle Pacific as they get their first offensive look. Falcons, absolute stalwarts of the GNAC. Here's a 3 to even it up early. No, that won't go. No one has won more GNAC postseason titles than the Seattle Pacific Falcons. Their most recent coming in 2019. Cross-court pass. Driving inside, here's Chris Lee. Just inside the free throw line, can't get it to go. Lee averaging over 15 points a game this season for the Nanooks. They've had a very streaky last few weeks. Is that one out of bounds? They're going to say last touch by Jonas Latour, so it'll be Alaska basketball.
Even though it's early, miscues, missed shots, they're all going to add up, and we'll see what happens at the end of the game. But even a turnover right there could be something at the end.
Paul Johnson will trigger a 3. He can't get that to go. Leaves a little bit short. Loose basketball. Finally controlled by the Falcons. Latour coming the other way. And Seattle Pacific will slow things down and set their offense. Falcons lost their final game of the regular season, but still atop that logjam between the 3 and 6 seed. Angle 3 won't go for Latour. Only one game separates number 3 Seattle Pacific from number 6 Alaska Fairbanks.
And that goes to talk about the parity you mentioned earlier.
Chris Lee working up top for the Nanooks. Another 3, this one from O'Keefe. Can't get it to go. So
both teams very 3 happy early on and not hitting just the one made bucket.
Offense working on the exterior for both sides, but yeah, a slow start from both teams we have seen on the three-point shooting. 3-0, our score remains 2.5 minutes in. His little dump inside, Evans gets it to go off the pass from Owen Moriarty, and Seattle Pacific gets their first points with 17:20 to go here in the first half. So neither team coming out guns blazing with the offense. Here's another 3. This one's going to be Sam's Hoy. That's going to be one to watch in this game. He can't get it to go.
You got to wonder, part of that could be nerves. Part of that could be that it's noon. They're not used to playing at high noon.
Isaiah Sam's Hoy, second team all-conference selection for Alaska Fairbanks. He'll be one to watch in this ball game. Spin inside. Now in the paint, Evans gets stuck, bounces it out. Moriarty goes with the right, rattles around, comes off. Loose basketball belongs to Alaska. Seattle Pacific having a little bit of trouble getting anything to stick, and it's going to be Chris Lee going to the line. He draws a foul. I think that one's going to go against Jonas Latour, and indeed it does.
Funny thing, Fairbanks winning by a point, but they're only shooting 20%. But, of course, that one shot, the one made 3 of the contest.
Okay, we've already seen 6 3-pointers put up in this one. Just over 3 minutes in. Teams combining to go 1 for 6 so far. Here's Chris Lee at the free throw line. Chris Lee, a junior guard. Averaging over 15 points, 3.6 assists a game as we see our first substitutes. We got a couple coming in on both sides into the game for the Falcons. Grant Coleman as well as Henry Sandberg. On the other side for Alaska, Elion Zebenbergen will check in for the Nanooks. Both free throws down, and another sub for Alaska. Griffin Effenberger will come in for the shooter, Chris Lee. So 5-2 our score here early on as Seattle Pacific looking to get their offense rolling. Driving to his left, Landek. Now Moriarty. Gets his man in the air and he lays it up and in. Nice move by Owen Moriarty to get Sams Hoy to commit.
Well, when the threes aren't falling, good thing to do is go to the paint.
This team's playing very evenly during the regular season. Layup can't go, but an offensive board and a putback. Zevenbergen gets his first points after just checking in.
It's a good way to get more minutes. Rebounds, putbacks.
Elion Zevenbergen, one of the best rebounders in the conference, averaging over 8 a game this year. That's good for second in the GNAC. Angle 3, this one. Grant Coleman.
Look good, good form, good rotation. Tie ball game.
First three-pointer to go for Seattle Pacific. They're now 1 for 3 from deep. And Zevenbergen responds immediately on the other end.
Kefri Fazio for SPU, the head coach. He wanted to travel, didn't get the call.
And speaking of coaches, while Kefri Fazio in his second season, Franco Stanek, first year back, but he is no stranger to the GNAC and Alaska Fairbanks. This is his second stint coaching the Nanooks. That baseline jumper won't catch anything, and now moving in transition the other way is Alaska. 9-7 ball game, Nanooks leading. Layup inside, blocked, and then thrown away. Here comes Landeck the other way. Going with the right, Knapp gets it to go, and he's fouled.
Great strong drive. First opportunity for SPU to take the lead with the and one after the timeout.
That'll take us into the first break. 9-9 the score, 14:38 left in the first half. Seattle Pacific, Alaska Fairbanks, 14:38 left to play in the first half. This is the number 3 versus the number 6 seed matchup here in the 2025 GNAC Men's Basketball Championships. Coming out of the timeout, it's Jackson Knapp with the and one free throw. He'll get it to go, and the Falcons leading for the first time in this game.
That's all GNAC first team member Jackson Knapp.
Elbow jumper, Sams Hoy. And the Nanooks immediately respond. So both teams settling in. Had trouble hitting threes early on. They've both played a little bit more of an interior game since those first couple of minutes. And their field goal percentage is bouncing back as a result. Working down to the left block. Knapp. Now cutting inside. A little fadeaway from Gray, can't go.
Nice job on defense by Fairbanks in the paint. 3 defenders swarmed him.
Sams Hoy again. He's been controlling a lot of the possession on the other side for the Nanooks. Can't get it though. And in transition, Moriarty with a great look in the pass in from Landeck. Good vision to get that one all the way.
He just got into no man's land and nobody was there on defense. Easy bucket.
And immediately a turnover. Moriarty able to steal it away. Loose ball though. And the Nanooks get it right back. Falcons leading by 1 here in the first half. Last time these two teams met up, Alaska able to pop SPU by 11. And they are meeting on a neutral floor for the first time this season. Topside 3. no good. That one triggered by Grant Coleman. Alaska looking for their 6th consecutive win to try and extend their season. Pass inside, going to work. Zevenbergen going to get blocked from behind by Coleman.
Great position, good awareness by Coleman for the rejection.
Work on the right side. Pass nearly lost in front of the Fairbanks bench. Here's Jackson Knapp. Oh, got it to go, and he's fouled.
Late whistle. Was surprised it wasn't blown earlier. You could tell he easily got bumped and upended. Strong drive for Knapp.
Couple of subs coming both sides. Not quite a dunk. Jackson Knapp was looking for it, but he did get bodied, and that's where they're going to call the foul. But a strong take nonetheless from the junior guard. Nearly averaging a double-double this season. Good for 12 points, 9.7 rebounds. And he has been tops in the GNAC in rebounding. He gets it to go and completes a three-point play. 15-11, Falcons lead. So Seattle Pacific putting together a little bit of a run here. Alaska trying to reel things in here in the first half. Johnson gets over the top of his man but can't get it to go. Knapp looks like he wants to try and draw a double team, won't get it. And now leaves a floater in the paint short. Angles free. That one won't go for Paul Johnson. He's missed last couple times down the floor. It's now 4 of 14 shooting for Alaska as they've been cold. There's Seattle Pacific shooting 50% from the floor to start this game. 6 of 12 right now. That one lost out of bounds. It's going to stay here. And that's going to take us into the timeout under 12. 15-11 the score. Seattle Pacific putting together a little run to take a 4-point lead here on GNAC.TV. Alaska Fairbanks scoreless the last 3 minutes. That's led to a 15-11 Seattle Pacific lead. 11-19 left in the first half. Thanks for joining us for the Great Northwest Athletic Conference Championships. Looking forward to a full day of basketball here at Marcus Pavilion on the campus of St. Martin's University. Inside, Owen Moriarty going to be stripped but fouled on the way up. I think he's going to get free throws out of this, and it looks like Zevenbergen's going to pick up the foul. That'll send Moriarty to the line for the first time in this game. Owen Moriarty in his junior season for Seattle Pacific. Did not go far for his collegiate basketball as he is a product of O'Dea High School in Seattle. And they're actually going to change that. It's going to be on the floor, so no free throws coming here for Moriarty. A little step back, thought about it. And now the dump inside. It's going to work. Evans can't get through the double team.
It's a nice job on the double team, the help side defense. Good things happen.
Alaska trying to break a 1-for-6 trend on shooting and get something moving offensively. And pass going to be bobbled and lost by Sams Hoy. A lot of trouble just taking care of the basketball so far for the Nanooks. They have, throughout the season, struggled with that. Driving layup won't go for Landeck, but an offensive rebound. Moriarty triggers the trade. No good. The one thing we got to watch throughout this game, Alaska Fairbanks turnover ratio -2.5. That's the bottom of the GNAC in that statistical category. They've really struggled to take care of the basketball this year. That three won't go for Sadhu, and the drought continues for the Nanooks. (15-11). The score remains under 10 minutes left in the first half. Driving inside, going with the right hand. Evans can't get it to go.
Over 4.5 minutes since Fairbanks has scored.
Now moving baseline, pass lost again. Yet another turnover for Alaska. Moriarty's got 2-on-1 and wants to take it himself. Won't go. Offensive rebound and the putback by Landeck.
You have to wonder there, where was the rest of the Fairbanks squad? Only 2 guys were near the rim. A third showed up. You need more help.
The Nanooks looking for their first point in over 5 minutes now, and they will finally get it. It's Sams Hoy that delivers. Bring this back to a 4-point game. They're lucky it's still 17-13 right now. 5-minute drought is really tough to deal with.
Offense not exactly flowing for either team right now.
Jonas Latour gets it to go, and one coming as he's fouled. That one called against Chris Lee. So by the numbers here in the first half, Jackson Knapp's already got 6 in this game for Seattle Pacific. Sams Hoy has 4 on the other side for Alaska. And 3 early turnovers for Alaska as well have plagued them. The biggest thing, though, is going 5 minutes scoreless.
Yeah, that's not going to get it done, but you did mention how they were only down 4 before that last bucket, which remains 6 after the miss.
So a 2-possession game at 19-13 with 8.5 left. A foul's going to be called as it was nearly took away in the corner by Julian Mora, but instead he's going to be dinged for his first personal. That would have been the 4th turnover for Alaska, but they are going to keep it on this end. Sams Hoy, step back, tries the corner 3. Won't go. Offensive board. Loose. Now a topside from Paul Johnson. Won't go. Loose ball staying here.
Shots just not falling for Fairbanks. Should continue to attack the rim until those long-distance shots start falling.
Looking at this 5-game winning streak for Alaska Fairbanks, that included a quadruple overtime win back on February 27th, last time they were in this building. Angle 3 will not go.
Exactly 1 week ago. Went late into the night. To the delight of producer Matthew Schwerzler.
123-115 their win in that one over St. Martin's, again in 4 overtimes. Quite the dramatic start to their final week of the regular season. That 3 rattles down for Mason Landeck. And the lead's starting to expand. It's now 9 for the Falcons, 22-13. Sams Hoy A reverse layup for Sams Hoy will go as he gets the pass inside from Hersrud. He'll go to the line for the three-point play, and that's a guy they're going to have to rely on quite a bit in this game. Before the free throws, we're going to go into the timeout. 7:16 left in the first half. Seattle Pacific 22, Alaska 15 here on GNAC TV. (22-15) Seattle Pacific's lead with 7:16 left in the first half. 3 versus 6 matchup. The Sams Hoy can't convert the three-point play. Three-pointers have plagued Alaska throughout this first half. 1 for 9 from deep for the Nanooks. Accompany that with going scoreless over 5 minutes, and they find themselves in a 7-point deficit. Look to bounce back a little bit. Sams Hoy trying to go the distance, gets it to go. That's a tough shot.
It's like a crash test dummy and comes up with 2 points.
You can see very early on in this game how he's going to be a dominating force for this Alaska offense. Really has no problem. A lot of confidence going to the hoop in a double team. Moriarty going to get fouled on the way up, and I believe that's going to go against Sams Hoy as well. And indeed it will. So Moriarty heading back to the line. Third trip to the stripe so far for the Falcons. Looking at the schedule for the day, here on day 1 of what will be 3 days of the GNAC Championships. This is our noon tip-off. We've got a 2:15 game slated between the number 4 seed Western Washington Vikings and the number 5 seed MSUB Yellow Jackets. The winner of this game will go on to play the number 2 seed NNU Nighthawks tomorrow, and then the winner of MSUB Western Washington will play the top seed and defending GNAC champ Central Washington at 2:15 on Friday.
It doesn't get any easier, nor should it.
23-17 our score. 6.5 minutes remain here in the first half. Sams Hoy for 3, won't go. And the three-point shooting struggles continue for Alaska.
1 of 10 now.
10% is not going to get it done from deep. Pop outside. Moriarty thinks about it, drives instead, and gets fouled. 2 straight times down the floor for Moriarty, driving and getting himself to the free throw line. And he's done a good job so far in this game of being able to find opportunities to score despite a double team coming at him when that zone collapses on him in the paint. On the season, Owen Moriarty, 86% free throw shooter, one of the best in the GNAC, 3rd in the conference, in fact, in free throw shooting.
Almost a role reversal from the regular season games these 2 teams had. SPU shot 22% and 20% from 3 respectively in those 2 games. Now the team not shooting from 3 is Fairbanks.
Moriarty hits pair. Lead moves to 8 now for Seattle Pacific. Yeah, looking at those 2 games during the regular season, Alaska just seemed to have the better of SPU. Despite losing by 2 on the road, topside 3 will not go. So a lot of work to be done for Alaska if they want to make it 6 straight W's. Falcons looking very confident. Dump underneath. Great little pass there from Knapp into Evans. And now their largest lead yet, SPU by 10.
Some rightful frustration being shown by Fairbanks head coach Frank Ostanek.
That'll go for Jalea O'Keefe. That's his first points of the game. Seattle Pacific content to slow things down, set their offense. Going to work.
Size advantage.
Jackson Knapp just makes it look easy on that one. Able to body his way onto the left block, no problem. Reverse, won't go for Chris Lee.
It's been that kind of first half for Fairbanks.
Yeah, perfectly good look. You know, that was a nice little move there from Chris Lee. Just can't finish at the rim. SPU chance to make it a dozen. Big man inside, Evans. He'll reverse it and get it to go.
Quick first step, and Frank Ostanek has seen enough.
Timeout called by Alaska. They now trail by 12 for the first time in this one. Seattle Pacific 31 and the Nanooks 19. 4:14 left in the first half on GNAC TV. Seattle Pacific enjoying their largest lead of the game, 31-19, 4 minutes left in the first half. This is the 3 seed versus the 6 seed in the 2025 GNAC Men's Basketball Championship opener. And quite the start for the Falcons. Another turnover, 4th of the game for the Nanooks, moving in transition the other way. And I think it's going to be steps on Jonas Latour. Just lost that right foot underneath and got away from him. He couldn't hold the pivot foot.
Fairbanks got bailed out there with that travel. They need to take advantage of only being down 12. Could have easily been 14 or 15.
Here's a big difference we're seeing in this game. Points in the paint, SPU 20, Alaska 12. And there have been a lot of times down the floor where it just looks easy for the Falcons once they get inside. Angle 3 won't go for Johnson. And he's been quiet in this one. That's now 0 for 4 from three-point range for Paul Johnson.
All Frank Ostanek can do is walk to the end of the bench, arms crossed. At what point do you think he considers telling his team stop shooting from outside?
You know, I would think we'd be there at this point at 1 for 11. But if it's been working for you this year, maybe you stick with it a little bit longer.
I get it, shooters shoot, but man.
Layup won't go.
They're missing point blank also.
Yeah, on the other side, they've had a couple of layups. They have not been easy by any means. To their credit, they have been well-contested layups, but they're just not getting the inside to go either. 31-19 the score, under 3 minutes left in the first half.
Western Washington men's basketball team is in the building.
4-seed Vikings making their return to the GNAC championships after missing out last year. Yeah, I think the biggest thing you can do when you're having trouble offensively like this, if you're the Nanooks, ride it out, don't force anything, because there's a turnover greatly needed by Alaska. And just continue to play your game. Trust that it'll come back, and this is a game of runs. Don't try to play outside of your typical ability.
And they have to take advantage of the turnovers and free throws. Do anything they can to climb back in.
Herzrod's going to get fouled. That's just the 4th on Seattle Pacific, so still away from the single bonus. Whereas on the other side, Alaska's got 6, so it's going to be 1 and 1 at a minimum the rest of the way for SPU. Sams Hoy. Free throw line, decides to pass it off. Lee, no good. That is now 1 for 13.
Surprised Sams Hoy didn't take that shot from 15.
Yeah, so far in this game, it looked like he hasn't had any problem triggering that free throw line jumper. And he had a little space he created with the quick stop, but decided to pass off to Lee. Can't get it to go. Moriarty tripped inside, and Zevenbergen's going to pick up another foul. Actually, the first on Zevenbergen. No, they call it on Chris Lee, so he'll get his second personal. And on the ground, but 1 and 1 coming here for Owen Moriarty. Seattle Pacific doing a good job of spreading that scoring out throughout their lineup so far. 4 guys with at least 5 already, just led by the 7 of Moriarty. 31-19, score remains a 12-point difference. Little pump fake, and Herzrod gets it to go. There's the first bucket in 3.5 minutes for Alaska.
If they can go into halftime down single digits, that's a victory.
Absolutely, absolutely. Getting this to 7 or 8 right now would be a huge plus, taking it into the locker room. Pass to the outside, lost. Nanooks hit it, and a foul quickly called against Mason Landek.
You talk about before the start of the season, head coach Frank Ostanek knew and told his team, we are going to be the 10th and lowest ranked team in the preseason GNAC poll, and sure enough, he called it about a month out. He told his players it was going to happen. It did, and they didn't believe it.
Yeah, you look back to a month ago for this team. They're in the midst of a 6-game losing streak. A lot of things need to go right for them just to get into this tournament. And yet here they are. Fadeaway jumper won't go for Sams Hoy. 31-21, minute left now in the first half.
Sams Hoy not having the half he would want.
Topside 3, a little bit long. And a foul going to be called. I believe that's going to go against Effenberger, and indeed it does. That'll send Moriarty to the line for 1 and 1. Well, Alaska looked to control for the first 3 or 4 minutes of this ball game. Seattle Pacific had a little trouble finding their groove. Both teams shooting pretty quietly. The problem is for Alaska that has just continued, whereas Seattle Pacific has settled things down, been able to find some success inside, shooting decently from 3-point range as well. 2 for 7, not going to blow anyone away with that number, but at least getting a couple to go. Whereas Alaska's had a couple of droughts throughout this first half where they just can't get anything. Layups, exterior shots, nothing's going. Moriarty earns the second. He's now got 8. He leads all scores.
SPU out rebounding, and they have 6 more points in the paint.
To Alaska's credit, they've taken a lot better care of the basketball in this game than they do typically. Just 4 turnovers aside. And we add one on here as Herzrud tries to force a pass underneath. 5-second difference, shot clock and game clock. Seattle Pacific wants a timeout to set up a play as we close out the first half. 29.4 seconds left. 33-21 our score. Falcons leading the Nanooks here on GNAC TV. Jeffrey Fazio wants a late timeout to set a play with 29.4 seconds left in the first half. 24 on the shot clock for Seattle Pacific, so Alaska might have a last second chance here. As coming out of the timeout will be controlled up top by Mason Landek. He's going to let this clock burn down. Now driving to his right, Landek goes with the right hand, gets it to go. Tough play there as he splits his way through 3 defenders. Moriarty tries to pop it away in the backcourt, but not successful as that's last touch by him. Fairbanks has 14 seconds with the shot clock turned off. 35-21 the score. Effenberger back to Sams Hoy. He loses the dribble, has to get rid of it. Lee, fadeaway baseline jumper. Rattles off, will not go. And Seattle Pacific takes their largest lead of the game into the locker room. 1 half of play in the books here on day 1 of the GNAC Championships. In game number 1 is the 3-seeded Seattle Pacific Falcons 35 and the number 6-seeded Alaska Nanooks 21. We're going to take a pause. We'll come back with just a few minutes left before the second half. Get you a recap and statistics from the first half and get the rest of this game underway here on GNAC TV.
A career that extends more than 30 years. He is working in his 14th conference tournament this season and has also been assigned to 5 NC2A regional championship events. Thank you, Matt, for your outstanding leadership not only in the GNAC but across the Northwest basketball officiating landscape as a whole. On Saturday, Matt will work his final college game, the GNAC Men's Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause for Matt Mason.
35-21, your halftime score. Seattle Pacific leading Alaska Fairbanks in what has been a game of three-point shooting, but not falling. 1 for 13 from deep for the Nanooks, whereas on the other side, Seattle Pacific only taking 7 shots from beyond the arc, 2 of them falling. Falcons shooting 46% from the field as a team, 28% on the other side for Alaska. A lot of things need to go right for the Nanooks here in the second half to overcome a 14-point deficit, and the biggest one is they just got to get some shots to fall.
It's the name of the game. Got to get the ball through the rim, the hoop, the net, however you phrase it.
9 points, 3 assists, and a rebound for Owen Moriarty in the first half to lead all scores. But perhaps the most impressive line in that first 20 minutes was from Jackson Knapp for Seattle Pacific. 6 points, 6 boards, and 2 assists on 2 of 3 shooting from the field. Hit both of his free throws at the line and played every minute of that first half.
And really for Fairbanks, Isaiah Samtoy and Chris Lee have to get going. They're 2 top scorers. Samtoy, GNAC Player of the Week. You need it right now.
And he's been all right so far. 8 points, 4 of 10 shooting, but Chris Lee, he just cannot get anything to go so far. 0 of 5 from the field. He does have 2 points. Both of those came at the stripe. He's only tried 1 3-pointer and could not get it to fall. So here's the Falcons with the basketball, looking to extend their lead to start the second half. We have seen multiple scoreless droughts for Alaska as immediately getting on the board of the Falcons. An easy layup there for Knapp, make it 8 and 6 for him. Corner 3 won't go for Paul Johnson, so the woes continue here to start the second half for Alaska.
Interesting tidbit. This is the first time these 2 teams have met on a neutral floor in 90 meetings.
Working underneath. Latour gets a late, well, no, it's going to just be an out of bounds as he's blocked. O'Keefe able to come in from behind and knock that one away. It'll stay Seattle Pacific basketball, 11 on the shot clock for SPU. Just saw MSUB Yellow Jackets walk into the gym during halftime. That one will go from Moriarty. And a delay of game warning issued against Seattle Pacific. Now an 18-point lead for Alaska. Again, our 2:15 tip is going to be Montana State Billings and Western Washington, the 5 and 4 seeds respectively. Top side 3, will this one go? That one's off for Sadu. And then a loose ball foul. And that's going to be called against Chris Lee. 3rd personal for Chris Lee. So picks up the 3rd early here in the second half. Seattle Pacific on the verge of making this a 20-point advantage. Their only win against the Nanooks this year was just a 2-point victory, 56-54. So quite the change of speed in this one, and at exactly the right time. Here's a dump underneath Evans. Going to work. Goes with the right hand in the paint. Can't get it to go.
Got to start chipping away.
Sams Hoy gets a double team, and then he's going to be fouled on the ground. Should be Moriarty picking up the foul. And indeed it is. Now this has not been a season where Seattle Pacific's picking up these huge victories. Their last real big win, you got to go back to January 30th. They beat Western Oregon by 17 in Seattle. That bucket will go for Alaska. Much needed field goal to get their first points of the second half. 39-23 the score. Backing his man down. Knapp pumps it back out. He's on double watch here early on. Angle 3, a little long, but Evans with an offensive rebound. Seattle Pacific not rushing things. They've kept the tempo fairly low in this game. That's working super well for them. Been very efficient from the field thus far. Moriarty fakes a 3. He'll try the elbow jumper, and he gets that. Nice decision there from Owen Moriarty.
No reason for SPU to rush because look at the lead. Time is on their side. Might as well take it easy.
They're shooting 45% from the field, so this slower tempo has really been working for them. There's a much-needed and one bucket from Jalea O'Keefe. He'll get himself to the line.
Fairbanks needs more of that if they want to have a shot in this one.
Early substitute in for Zevenbergen. He was a pretty effective role player off the bench in that first half. Had 4 rebounds, couple points, and added in a steal as well. O'Keefe can't get the free throw to go. Looking way up front, Latour was on his own. No one picked him up on the outlet. So a nice pass into the backcourt for the easy layup. Jonas Latour gets another couple on the layup. 43-25 our score. Zevenbergen tosses that one away as Knapp goes in transition to the hoop. That's now 9 points off of turnovers for the Falcons. Alaska with 0.
Fairbanks only had 21 points at half. There was a game earlier this year between these two where it was the other way. SPU had 20 at half, and they lost that game. So obviously the odds not in Fairbanks' favor.
That's another miss on a three-pointer. 1 for 16 now for Alaska. Going to work. Spinning inside is Knapp. Gets his own rebound, puts it back up and in. 12 points, 7 boards for Jackson Knapp. He's having quite the game. And it's been efficient as well. He's 5 of 6 from the field. Lead continues to stretch. It's now 22.
Wow.
Another turnover. They've just forced a couple passes these last few times down the court for the Nanooks. Trying to go cross court through 2 or 3 defenders. It's just not working out.
They're making it that much tougher on themselves.
It's now 7 turnovers for Alaska. Topside 3. That rattles off. Loose ball, and it's just saved by Zevenbergen. Poked away. That's 3 straight trips down the floor now with a turnover for Alaska. And a dunk from Landeck is going to trigger the timeout by the Nanooks. Things starting to get out of hand. Seattle Pacific enjoying a 24-point lead. 49-25 the score. 15-22 left here in the first half. In the second half, that is, on GNAC TV. .22 left in the ball game. 24-point lead for Seattle Pacific at 49-25. Currently on an 18-4 run. The Falcons are going back into the first half as they've really stepped into their own in this ball game.
Little surprising that nothing seems to have changed for UAF coming out of halftime.
Yeah, usually getting into the locker room, being able to talk about it, relax a little bit, that'll shake something loose. That's just not been the case so far. As they're still shooting sub 30% from the field. And as we've talked about, 1 of 16 from 3. Driving baseline jumper. Won't go for Landeck. Offensive board put back for Knapp won't go. And eventually pulled away. Alaska Fairbanks trying to get some momentum going. Sams Hoy.
Ouch.
That's a big foul from O'Keefe on the loose ball. For O'Keefe, his third personal. That's now 2 players for Alaska with 3 personal fouls. Well, both teams are going back to the bench. We just had the media timeout. Not sure what's going on here. We did get a little clarification on a couple of delay warnings given to Seattle Pacific. One came at the end of halftime. The Falcons not coming out of the huddle at the second horn. They got a delay of game warning then. Then they get one on the baseline. So 2 warnings. Next delay of game we see on Seattle Pacific will result in an administrative technical and a couple free throws coming.
Fairbanks needs a lot of those.
Yeah, they sure do. Looking at the stats up and down right now. How about this rebounding margin? Seattle Pacific 33-20, their advantage in total rebounds, including a 9 rebound advantage in defensive boards, 25-16.
Rebounds lead to what? Points in the paint. Also a huge advantage for SPU, 36-16. What has UAF been doing all game? Shooting the 3 that is not falling.
This is
1 of 16. 1 of 16 from 3 for the Nanooks.
This has got to feel like a jarring one for Alaska Fairbanks. Playing their best basketball of the year coming in to the postseason. Picked up a great 72-64 win against Montana State Billings on senior night in Fairbanks. Had just beat Seattle Pacific in their final home weekend, 71-60. Also beat Anchorage.
The 4 overtime thriller right here at Marcus Pavilion. Here's the crazy thing. They don't win that 4 overtime thriller, they're not in the tournament.
Yeah.
And St. Martin's is.
Yeah, a lot had to go right for Alaska and a lot had to go wrong for St. Martin's for them to flip spots for that last spot. Going all the way. Making it look easy on that one is Landeck. 51-25 the score now. The Seattle Pacific more than doubling up the Nanooks. Gonna get a foul away from the basketball. Going tumbling to the ground is Landeck. He'll get dinged for the foul. And we talked about this early on. There is so much unknown about the men's side of this tourney. You know, who stands head and shoulders above the rest? Nobody. There's too much parity between all these teams. They all compete really well against each other. As we talked about, 1 game separating the 3 from the 6 seed. A couple of fakes and eventually a block as Effenberger can't find an open spot.
Too much. One guy trying to do everything on offense instead of sharing the ball, using the 5 on the floor.
Falcons go back to work underneath as a double team is knocked away from Knapp. 3 will get it to go.
Do you want to finish your point about the parity and the...
Well, looking at the 2 teams we're not seeing today, Central Washington, Northwest Nazarene, despite getting the bye and being the number 1 and 2 seeds, you know, they are right there with all these other teams. No one really stands head and shoulders above the rest. Not to say that's necessarily the case on the women's side, but Alaska Anchorage has really done a good job of separating themselves as far as the quality of basketball they've been playing during the conference season. And so their look as a conference tournament favorites, a lot different than on the men's side.
Absolutely. Ryan McCarthy has reloaded again. What he's able to do up there at Anchorage is incredible.
Bounce pass inside for Sams Hoy. He spins underneath his man, gets the bucket to fall, and he's fouled. Looks like that's Julian Mora who will get tagged for the foul. And an and 1 coming here for Sams Hoy. The junior guard trying to brute force these Nanooks back into this basketball game. Gets himself to 10 points on the afternoon with that one. He's got 5 boards and 3 assists to go along with it. Sam's Hoy, a free throw coming. He's missed the only attempt he's taken at the free throw line this afternoon. And he can't get that one to go either. No, so Seattle Pacific basketball. They try and press in the backcourt, and it looks like a foul's going to be picked up here by Griffin Effenberger. Well, 12:37 left in this ball game. You know, Seattle Pacific's kind of been playing this game for the entirety of the second half, and it's just been their MO coming into it is taking care of the basketball, use up a good amount of the shot clock, develop an offensive scheme, and find the open look. But now, with this lead as large as it is, there's a takeaway for the Nanooks. Jeremiah Herzrud gets it to go as he gets the pick and the bucket. And maybe this is something Alaska needed a little earlier on in this game, some backcourt pressure.
Something had to change, and it hasn't until now.
They found
this mountain looks a little too big to climb.
A lot of basketball left to be played. We still got 12 minutes. Certainly have seen a lot wilder things happen. Spinning underneath. Dish out from Evans. Topside three won't go as the shot clock expired, but the putback by Julian Mora will. You know, one of the most interesting comebacks in recent GNAC championships memory is we harken back to that Central Washington MSUB game in the semis last year. Samad Hector with that last-minute three. That was a fun one. Central Washington, I believe, trailed that game by 5 points with 30 seconds left, and they were able to get the buzzer beater to go on to the championship. Ended up beating Alaska Anchorage in that championship game. There's been some fun ones.
Always a lot of fun and excitement this time of year in college basketball.
Mora's layup won't go, leaves it just a little bit short. 56-29 the score. Sam's Hoy dishes it outside. Johnson will take the mid-range jumper. And a foul underneath.
Uh-oh.
As Sam's Hoy down and hurting. It was Trace Evans that went tumbling over the top of him.
Does not look good on the floor for Sam's Hoy.
Yeah, it looks like he might have caught something in the lower half. So Evans will get dinged for the foul. First personal on Trace Evans. Also takes us into the media timeout. 11:04 left to play. 56-29. Seattle Pacific leads Alaska here on GNAC TV. Mason Landek, 6 for his last 7 from the field for Seattle Pacific. He leads all scorers with 14 and has helped the Falcons to a 56-29 advantage. 11 minutes and 4 seconds left in the second half. As a quick inbound play to Chris Lee will get him his first field goal of the game. And Chris Lee certainly happy to break that 0 for 5 streak from the field to start this ball game. Lead now at 25 for SPU. They try and punch the first ticket to a semi of the day. This is the first of 4 games we're seeing here at Marcus Pavilion. The 2 men's, 2 women's games. That will set the stage for tomorrow's semifinals. Then we will have our 2 championship games on Saturday nights here in Lacey. You can catch all these games here on GNAC TV, and we look forward to spending the next 3 days with you. Thank you so much for joining us here for game 1 of the GNAC Championships. 3-pointer left short. And last touch by the Nanooks, they'll say, as that goes out of bounds. Sadu with the miss. Kathan Sadu is actually the only Alaska player to make a 3-pointer in this game. He's now 1 for 4 from deep. Continue to see a rebounding margin get larger and larger for the Falcons. They've gotten some second chance opportunities as they crash the boards on offense. Currently plus 16, the rebounding differential for SPU. And then we're going to see an offensive foul call. The official explains it to Mason Landeck. He was throwing elbows, so he'll be dinged with a turnover and the foul. And that's going to take us into the timeout. 10:14 left to play in the ballgame. 56-31, Falcons in control here on GNAC TV. Cruise control for Seattle Pacific. They lead by 25, 56-31. And how about the line developing from Mason Landeck? 14 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals for him. He's just a dime and a steal away from a 4x5.
That's an awesome line anybody would take, especially in a tournament game.
So it looks like the foul called on Landeck just a few moments ago going to be upgraded. Excessive swinging we're hearing.
With no contact. If there would have been contact, a flagrant would have been considered. But thankfully, not the case.
Under 10 minutes left in this ball game now, as SPU continues to shoot close to 50% in this game. They're 23 of 48 from the field. Good for 48% field goal shooting. We got a 56-34 ball game. This saw Isaiah Sams-Hoy make just a second three-pointer this game for the Nanooks. Gets him to 13 to lead Alaska in scoring, as he's sticking pretty close to his averages. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He's played 27 minutes in this one. Moriarty pops it outside. And the Falcons will work the outside, try and eat up as much of this clock as they can.
If you're Kefri Fazio, you tell your team, play keep away.
Moriarty, angle 3, gets it to go.
Play keep away and then do that.
Kefri Fazio has had some very big shoes to fill, following in the footsteps of Grant Leap and Ryan Looney, who have put the Falcons in such a good spot over the last decade plus. They've played some really great basketball, and Fazio picking up right where those guys left off.
Fazio's been a huge name and a great coach in the basketball community of Seattle, not only at the SPU level, but high school level as well, and coaching clinics and And you're right. You talk about LEAP, and it just goes to show how the GNAC is looked at around the basketball community, because where did LEAP go? He is now at Seattle U as an assistant coach. Who was an assistant coach at SPU? Alex Pribble, who was at St. Martin's here in the GNAC. Moved on now to Idaho, and he's running that program. So GNAC does it very well at getting guys to come here to coach, to do a good job for 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 years if they choose.
And on the women's side, is there a better example than Carmen Dolfo and what she's built at Western Washington? Holy cow. Yeah, the basketball landscape littered with former GNAC coaches now at the Division I levels as an assistant or as a head coach. Western Oregon's former head coach Jim Shaw, with his second stint at Washington State as an assistant. So you talked about Alex Pribble taking the job at Idaho as a head coach. Looney got the Idaho State head job. Yeah, there's just so many ties back to the GNAC that you've seen from all of these coaching stints, and it's just fun to see these coaches go on to other things and succeed at different levels of basketball.
And obviously with a Carmen Dolfo example, a Tony Dominguez example, both at Western, that have been there for decades. So it is a place, if you want to put that foundation down, you can stay and do great things.
Falcons with the basketball and a 25-point lead. Just over 8 minutes remaining as their shot clock gets down to 7. Moriarty cuts underneath, but doesn't get the dish. Now shooting 3 from the top. Landek, no good. Offensive board, won't go. Eventually, it's Grant Coleman after 3 tries for Seattle Pacific, and if you get 3 tries, eventually something's going to go. The offensive boards continue to come for SPU. Layup left a little bit short by O'Keefe, and here's a second chance opportunity for Alaska. Hersrud, no good.
Such a deflating afternoon for Fairbanks when they've had such a great run for their last 5 games. The 4 overtime game on this floor last week to have a shot to get into the tournament and keep St. Martin's out of it, and then going to win at Western Oregon to definitely confirm their ticket punch here today. And then you just come out and nothing works.
Yeah, a 3-game tournament format, anything can happen. And if you're Alaska, you're coming in with nothing but momentum and confidence, and it's just such a tough hit on the brakes to go from all of that excitement and success to struggling to find some buckets, and that's going to take us into the next timeout. 7:10 left in this one. 63-36 our score here on GNAC TV. $7:10 left with Seattle Pacific controlling this ball game, 63-36 the score. Alaska holding the basketball coming out of the timeout as Sams Hoy moves his body in on the jumper to draw the foul, and he'll be going to the line for 2. Sams Hoy, the only player in double figures right now for the Nanooks in scoring, 15 points, 5 boards. But O'Keefe putting together a decent game, 6 points, 8 rebounds for himself, as he's looking to put together a double-double. We do have 2 double-doubles already in this game. Seattle Pacific's got 2. Mason Landek's 14 and 12. Jackson Knapp's got 12 and 12.
Which would you rather have?
Between 14 and 12 and 12 and 12?
Yes.
Well, I think I'll take the 2 extra points. Especially when you put the 4 assists, 4 steals with Landek on that. Alaska continuing with the full court press, and they're going to force the Falcons to call a timeout. It's been fairly effective here in the second half, that press, 63-37, as we step aside for another timeout here on GNAC TV. Quick timeout for Seattle Pacific as they struggle with the inbound facing this full court press from Alaska. And interestingly, it seems like the most defensive pressure we've seen from the Nanooks has been here in the second half of this basketball game when they've been struggling with a 20, 25-point deficit. Falcons taking their time up top. Finally driving in, working his way through a double team. Knapp can't get it to go.
Looks like the officials are letting them play a little bit more, considering this game well in hand for SPU.
Sadu goes glass. That's Jalea O'Keefe actually with the bucket as he goes off the backboard to make it 8 points for O'Keefe. And we will see a foul called on Sams Hoy, picking up his 3rd. Only foul trouble we're seeing right now is both for Alaska, as Chris Lee has 4, as does Griffin Effenberger. This is Henry Sandberg at the line. He hits his first. Sandberg, a freshman, went to Gonzaga Prep in Spokane. Traditionally one of the best high school basketball programs, not just in the state of Washington, but in the country, as they've had some incredibly talented high school basketball teams these last few years.
Of course, great high school basketball going on right now all over the state. WIAA tournament.
Here's O'Keefe. A little step back, long 2 won't go.
8 players for SPU on the floor in this game. All 8 have scored.
And they're led by the 18 points of Owen Moriarty. That really snuck up on us too, as Landek was having a good second half, and then Moriarty really put it into gear. He's 6 of 9 from the field, been so efficient about it as well. Here's a poke away, Sams Hoy trying to go the distance. He's going to get fouled on his way up. And we get a little extracurricular, and a technical foul is going to be called. I think that's coming on Landek.
And that's
they're going to talk about it.
MSUB men's team that he fell into.
So the 3 official crew is going to talk about this before they do report this technical foul. But a technical was announced immediately. We haven't seen a number reported to the media table yet, but something will be coming. I think the discussion here is this going to go in as a double technical? What's the nuance involved with this? But it looks like the personal is going to go against Landek, and we were expecting that. Then a technical foul is going to be called against Alaska.
So personal foul is called against number 13, Mason Landek. That is his 3rd personal foul. 8, and then goes a baseball technical foul that says against number 10.
And then Sams Hoy is going to pick up. So Sam Hoy shooting technical free throws here, which what we're hearing from the media table was a technical called against Sam Hoy. So I guess it must be a double technical.
Tag.
Yeah, all right. So we see free throws on either side. Then we're going to have to come back down to the other end and have the standard 1-and-1 after Landek's foul on the ground. Actually, no, that was in the air, so it'll be 2 coming. So just quite the string of free throws here. Be interested to find out what exactly happened on the baseline.
27-point advantage for Seattle Pacific. They've been on cruise control for a while. Just 5:41 left in this one as SPU ready to punch their ticket to a game on Friday in the semifinals.
We're going to see the first action of this game from Josh Davis as the junior transfer checks in. Shiloh Zevenbergen joining him as well as they get the first action on the floor for the Nanooks. 5.5 minutes left in this ball game. We will see our first semifinals matchup set here. Falcons working it to the outside. Mora can't get it to go. Another offensive rebound. This one belongs to Coleman. His pass outside, Landek draws the foul, and he'll be heading back to the line. Offensive rebounds have been huge for the Falcons. That's now number 12 for them on the O boards. Second chance points, 14 so far in this game.
Of course, with the end of a basketball regular season comes some changes. And changes have been made at Simon Fraser in the GNAC and Western Oregon. Steve Hansen is out at Simon Fraser, and Wes Pfeiffer is out at Western Oregon. Unfortunate that coaching changes get made, and sometimes it's mutual, sometimes it's not. But when you have down years, those things can happen.
Second free throw will go for Landek, pushing this back to a 29-point game, 69-40 our score. That one lost out of bounds, but last touched by SPU. Corterius Mingo also into this ball game for Alaska. Formerly at Lewis and Clark Community College. Making the move up to Fairbanks here. This is his second season with the Nanooks. Pushes that one back in bounds, but it goes straight over to Mason Landek. Under 5 minutes left to play here at Marcus Pavilion.
We're only 90 minutes in. Seems a little bit longer with a lot of stops and starts and technicals. And
yeah, you get the double T followed by the personal foul free throws coming. Yeah, that'll put the brakes on things pretty quickly. Step up three goes for Mason Landek. How about this line now for him? 19 points, 13 rebounds, 4 steals, 4 assists. Really putting together quite the box score. Lead is now 32 for Seattle Pacific. As Fairbanks 1 for their last 6 from the field. Offensive struggles continue. Just 40 points on the board in this game. Layup up and in. Logan Kinlock calling his name for the first time. Topside 3 won't go for Zevenbergen.
you know, Dustin, it might be something about Seattle Pacific, the way they play this UAF team. The lowest point total for the Nanooks in the regular season, 54 in their 2-point loss to SPU.
Well, whatever's going on, Alaska having trouble finding the offense today. 74-40 the score, 3:36 left here on GNAC TV. 3:36 left to play. Seattle Pacific, a 74-40 lead over Alaska Fairbanks, currently looking to hold the Nanooks to their lowest points total of the season, as they're 14 off of their previous low right now, and only 3.5 minutes left. Nice up and in on the reverse for Henry Sandberg.
Well, my money's on the under.
76-40. The lead continues to grow. Krug will get it to go.
Of course he hits the three when I say they won't score 14 points in the next 3 minutes.
Third three-pointer of this game made by Alaska, and that's the first shot we've seen taken by Jackson Krug, junior transfer at Alaska Community College. He'll get himself on the board, and Nooks get the ball right back, and Alaska's going to want to take a quick timeout. 3:01 left. 76-43 our score on GNAC TV. Down to 3 minutes left in the ball game. Alaska takes a late timeout. Can't get the fadeaway to go for Zevenbergen.
That about sums it up for Fairbanks. An air ball.
Falcons felt a little bit of pressure here in the second half, as Alaska has stepped up the pressure, especially in the backcourt. Keep moving between the man up and the zone defense. Shot clock down to 3. SPU's got to get something off. Looking for a quick 3, eventually triggered by Mora. That's off the back of the iron. Alaska looking for some late offensive charge, and they get the 3 to go. They're calling that a tray from Zevenbergen in the corner. So we've now seen as many made three-pointers in the last 90 seconds of basketball from the Nanooks as in the first 36 minutes of this game.
Isn't it funny how basketball works?
Yeah. I mean, it's a game of runs, of course. You just don't expect them to be that long.
30-point lead.
Mora driving left side, gets stuck, pops it out. Zachman won't go. 90 seconds left in the ball game. Little heat check there from Zevenbergen. He's had a nice little shift here off the bench. He's only played 4 minutes of this ball game, but done some quality work from the reserve for Alaska. Step up 3, Mora leaves it short. As we get to the 104 mark, a foul up top is going to be called. That's going to bring up 1 and 1. 9th foul called on SPU.
Although Fairbanks be very disappointed with the result, the effort today.
Again, the winner of this game goes on to face Northwest Nazarene tomorrow. For Seattle Pacific, last time they saw the Nighthawks able to pick up a 10-point win against them at Royal Brome Pavilion. That was back on February 13th.
That'll be a fun one.
And if you're the Falcons right now, you got to be very pleased with the way you've started these GNAC championships. Can't ask for much more from your team. Good defense, good offense. Getting it done on both sides of the basketball, and the rebounding has been stellar.
In the paint, big key. You out-rebound and you outscore in the paint. 9 times out of 10, you're going to win the game.
That's going to send Corterius Mingo to the line. 41 seconds left in the game. Our anticipated tip-off for Game 2 today between Western Washington and Montana State Billings, 2:15. So we are Pacific time, right? For those of you joining us from outside of the Pacific Northwest, we thank you for taking the time to watch the GNAC Championships on your Thursday afternoon.
Of course, because in Montana it's beyond 2:15. As I was starting to say about Fairbanks, it's a tough day. You take one on the chin, but overall, you beat your expectations of what everybody else had for you outside of the team, the school.
Yeah, I get it. Getting to this point, getting into the GNAC Championships is a big testament to not taking to heart anything any external voices are saying. Just playing their brand of basketball and making an appearance in the postseason.
And it's a good start in his second stint for head coach Frank Ostanek at Fairbanks.
10-second difference, shot clock and game clock as the corner three will go. That's David Zachman, redshirt freshman from Arlington. Makes it 81-47 our score. That goes out of bounds, and that should wrap it up as shot clock turned off, and the Falcons now with possession as they will be heading to the semifinals, taking on the number 2 seed Northwest Nazarene tomorrow. Final score of this one, Seattle Pacific 81, Alaska Fairbanks 47, as the Nanooks season comes to an end. Their record 14-14 overall and 10-9 in conference play. Leading scorers in this one for the Nanooks, they're led by the 17 of Isaiah Sams-Hoy. He adds on 6 rebounds. Also got 8 and 8 from Jalea O'Keefe. For the Falcons, a couple of guys knocking on the door of 20. 18 from Owen Moriarty, 19 from Mason Landeck to go along with his 14 rebounds. Also saw a double-double from Jackson Knapp, who goes 12 and 12. Final thoughts as we wrap this one up, Sean Wally.
Let's not forget about the 6 seniors for Fairbanks that have just played their final collegiate basketball game. It's been a great ride, and, man, could be their final basketball game ever if they don't move on to some form of an international professional league.
First game of the day in the books, 3 more to come. We will be back at 2:15, Montana State Billings and Western Washington, to wrap up the day on the men's side of things here at the 2025 GNAC Championships.